Like I say, in Mexico, there was some schools, about 5 or 6 schools, right? And I had just granted them or given them a whole bunch of buses or something like that. There was some schools and they didn't have any buses, and so I gave them a donation of like 500 or 300 used buses or buses to be repainted and given to the schools of Mexico or something like that, because they didn't have really nice buses, or they didn't have buses basically. And so I gave them to the schools of Mexico, be like, here. And I think I might have even had them fixed up. I don't really know, but I granted them like buses for their schools. So so the kids could get to school and back, because I'm really big on education and everything else like that. It was a really nice thing for Lucifer Starline me to do, basically. And pretty much what happened is some Mexican shithead basically went in there. He killed the teachers and he took the buses, and basically he loaded up a bunch of people with AK-47s and started driving his troops around inside of school buses and stuff like that. I found out about that and I got really mad, because those were my buses, and that was my gift to the children of Mexico, and something that I did to be nice. That was my money that was spent on getting those buses and having them fixed up and restored and giving them to the children of Mexico. And basically some piece of shit had taken over Mexico or done something in Mexico, and basically went to the schools, grabbed the school buses, and started driving his troops around them in them. So like I said, I found out about it and I got mad. I got really pissed off, and I ordered my aircraft to go into Mexico and blow up every single bus that they saw with basically troops and guns on board. I said, all you have to do is confirm that there are large amounts of weapons on board, and that they are being used for troop carriers and not school buses. Like, confirm that they're also the school buses. So anyway, like I say, and so that was my order. And I think my military carried it out. So to some South American or Mexican piece of shit that would take from children and take some of my buses that I gave to those children and gave to those schools for them to be driving around in. And I'm sorry if your leader or lord doesn't spend any money on military like he should. I don't know what the Mexico whatever was spending the money on. There's plenty of money, there's plenty of taxes, there's plenty of labor in Mexico. Like I said, I was running Mexico just fine, and so were lots of other people. I don't know why someone would be driving around school buses with men with AK-47s and weapons on board. So, anyway, like I would say, it's not really a Geneva Convention kind of thing that says that your troops have to use APCs or trucks or some sort of real troop carrier to carry around their soldiers in. I suppose if you're the ghetto army, you can use school buses that you went to the schools, shot the school teachers or shot the people running the schools, and basically stole those buses from the schools. I suppose if you wish to be epic shit or epic whatever in the other way, you can go ahead and do that. And like I said, when I found out about it, I did order my jets to go ahead and blow up all those buses. As they say, God giveth, God taketh back. Or Lucifer Star giveth, Lucifer Star taketh back. So, like I say, I probably killed lots of people, and lots of people probably died in those buses. But I figured maybe they would get the message. Don't use my buses for troops carriers. Don't take from the children. So I don't know. It was something I did, and I know you're going to hate me for it, and blah, 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 blah. And yeah, I'm a really horrible, vicious guy. Not really. It was really a nice thing to do for the children, but anyway. Anyway, I was really, really, really mad. I'm sorry. I'm still mad about it. As you can see, I'm still kind of pissed off about it. I'm still kind of mad. Because, in existence and everything else, a lot of people were just trying to live and just trying to have existence and just trying to be happy. And there were certain people that just, I don't know, whatever. So anyway, like I say, they didn't even bother to repaint the buses or change names. They were obviously from those schools, and they're obviously school buses. And even worse, they're the ones I gave them. So anyway, I'm sure I killed lots of children's fathers and lots of things, and I'm sorry about that. I guess it was vicious and psychotic, and it was a reflex action, I suppose, on my part. And maybe I should apologize for it. I don't know. Everybody knew that those buses had been granted to them and given to them by outside support. The buses had been made and manufactured, and the money had been provided by other people. And somebody thought they could just walk in and shoot people in the head and take those buses. And I was still aware of my surroundings, as they say. And they asked, and I said, well, take back the buses. Blow them up. I think I might have ordered them to try and destroy the buses without people on board, and actually laughed at, well, they're going to be walking from now on. So I didn't actually want them to kill the people. I try not to kill people. We try to just go for property. Make it so they have to walk. That's why we do things like blowing up ball bearing factories and stuff like that. And the ball bearing factory was actually my factory as well. Or something like that. I forget exactly why we did that. My people try not to kill people, or kill life forms, but, Anyway, whatever. So, history that deserves to be remembered. I don't know, and I don't really care anymore. My name is Lister Starline, and I've had to face a lot of problems, and I don't know, and a lot of things. And a lot of people may hate you. You can hate me, you can love me, but you really can't deny me. Anyway, whatever. I'm really hundreds of trillions of years old, or 199 or something like that. I'm old. I'm almost 100 trillion. It's a good joke, isn't it? Yeah, whatever. Mexico's a lot better now, I guess, and actually has a functioning society now. So, Anyway, oh well. Like I said, drug use and everything else, and even having sex and all that other stuff, I don't really care about. And I don't know, maybe seeing that my buses, well, they were hurting people as well. I mean, they were driving around in the buses and they would go and hurt people and stuff like that in the buses too. So, I don't know. Maybe I'd blown up all their other vehicles. So maybe they're like, hey, you blew up all our other vehicles, man. That's all we had left was school buses. It's like, well, don't use school buses. Walk. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of other forces involved too. I mean, there's also like other people. Anyway, yeah, well. So I'm sorry, okay? Are you happy? Maybe I shouldn't have ordered that. But oh well, it's too late now. Like I say, I don't give you guns for freedom and then go and kill you. And usually, I mean, people should know not to do things. Oh, whatever. I sound like an asshole. Sorry. Oh, well, hey. Whatever. They were charity buses or something like that. I don't know. Like the kindness and love of people had given them those buses. So anyway. That's why I would say, actually, people actually generally tiptoed around me. People were like, I'd be like, what the ah! I'm sorry. Well, it's true, I mean, like, I have a very large military, and I can, at one point in time, I could choose which military I wanted to use to handle a problem. Real militaries. So, I mean, like I would say, at one point in time, I would sweep across a planet or sweep across a nation, like a blanket of love, protecting and fixing and saving and just, rightfully locking up the people that were really doing the bad things in the world with a massive amount of power and money and just everything else. I wasn't the Dark Lord, I was the Lord of Light, the Lord of Love, literally. Because I believed in love as basically a good thing. Possibly even the creator of love, I'm not sure. Like, I don't really know exactly how far or how deep it goes and all that other stuff, but basically, yeah. I mean, look up Lucifer Starline. Like I said, there are a lot of people trying to pretend like they were me, and there are a lot of people working for me, and I got in the way of the wars. Like I said, people would be trying to have a war or something like that, and it's like, don't you know there's a war on? It's like, no, I didn't. Sorry. I guess we'll have to fix that, and stopping wars and doing this and doing that, and forcing people to the peace tables and all that stuff. Forcing agreements between two parties, or at least finding out what their disagreement was. Like, what's your problem? Anyway, so yeah, I was hiding. I was just living a normal life as a child. Like I said, there were probably 5 or 6 or 8. I don't know. Man, no, mostly three people in the universe that really wanted me dead, but not for anything like a good reason. Like, most people love me. Actually, like I said, at one point in time, whole countries would actually go and kill their leader just to join me. Just be like, well, we had a leader, but he's gone. We want to be with you. And it's like, okay. When I was Germany or whatever, with Germany, basically a lot of people would rather be with me or rather be a part of my group than anything else, because steamships, steam travel, steam trains, and also diesel engines and everything else, and basically just fair laws and equality. No one could say no to any of my rules, and also safer working conditions as well. Like I said, if you're building a bridge and you lose like 30 or 40 people trying to build it, I mean, maybe we should just slow down and take our time on things. Like, things don't have to be rushed. I prefer if I saw like a zero accident or nearly zero accident work record. So, and like building the Golden Gate and some of these other bridges, we actually lost people, and so trying to figure out what went wrong or how we could have stopped that from happening. At least in the future. A lot of times when something bad would happen, I'd be like, well, there's nothing we can do about it now, but maybe we can solve this and stop this from continuing to be a problem in the future with future projects. So, anyway, like I said, I had many people working for me, and just people that would hear about me and hear about who I was and what I was doing and why I was doing it and everything else joined up. And basically that's another reason why JFK, Jimmy Carter, and all those other ones, a lot of congressmen, even Rodney, were really fucking scared of me, because, like I said, it's more than that. Go to any star, point a ship at any star, and start flying there. And at one point in time, I told the world and told people the truth of it. I was like, point your ship at any star and go there, and you will find me there, or find something like my organization's there, or my life forms. They're literally everywhere. So literally, there's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to run to, and there's nothing that anyone could do about it. Like, I was just too perfect and too good. So, and it got to be a point where people would actually do things on my behalf, which were like, and people were even willing to die for me and stuff like that, just to say they had done something for me. And it's like, guys, you don't have to do that. I love you anyway. I'd prefer you just live happy, warm, snuggly lives next to the fireplace, and open your presents during Christmas time, and go on vacations, and buy ice cream for the kids, and snuggle your daughter and read her bedtime stories every single night, and all that. Like, that's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see beauty and music and happiness. I haven't spent 900 or 90 trillion years, or some great amount of time, dealing with problems, whacking down psychotic people and fixing things and creating stars and matter, to just, it was about, everything else. I say, when you go home and you you snuggle your child or read her a bedtime story, that's pretty much what I wanted. I want warm, happy holidays and people that just, work and live their life, their existence. All this water, everything else around you. I said the Republicans and Democrats and everybody else were saying, we have to take more, we have to get more resources. Well, it's like, no, there's not. There's plenty of resources, there's plenty of technology, there's plenty of everything. You're perfectly safe on this planet, practically. Like, if you just work and exist and do your job and everything else, no one's going to harm you. At least no one out there is going to harm you. Like, of course, if you're psychotic and evil and start going that you're Lucifer Starline, or that just because you sit behind my White House desk that you're me, well, then, yeah, you may very possibly be dragged off into the darkness, kicking and screaming, by little things that say, humans want to play! And no one may see, and your body may disappear, and you may never be seen again. I really don't know. Like, my little 1.5s were doing things for me as well. And the exoskeletons. Lots of life forms were doing things for me. So, yeah, a few very bad people or a few very something people, and like I would say to people, I have no control over their actions. They're free. They're going to do what they want to do. And they had loved me and known me for a long time. And some humans had tried to kill them, execute them, and even torture them to death. So, they were trying to steal technology, and they were very bad people. So, anyway, and that's another thing I was trying to warn Rodney about, and other things, is that, well, Rodney, there's a lot of life forms, and they're going to know, and they're going to find out, and then they might do something to you. And what they do, I don't know. Like I said, I even met psychotic serial killers that had killed hundreds of people that were going to do me a favor or something like that. And I was like, no, please don't. Please don't bother. No. Please go help somebody else. You know? It's like, no. And even people that were whatever, and then they were locked up inside my jail. There were people that came to me that said, we were a certain way, and then we got locked up, and we realized we were wrong, or something like that. And I don't really understand that. Like, I would rather you be out in the public than locked up inside a jail cell. But if you feel you need to be there, then, well, they're there, and you'll get food and a roof over your head and a good place to sleep at night. And if that's how you want to do your existence, then okay. But anyway, like I said, in the past, people had rat-infested jails, and I saw that as a problem, and I was like, my jails or holding facilities should not have rats or cockroaches inside of them. People should not have to worry about the cockroach crawling out of the sewer at night, and getting into their box or something like that. Like, that's not acceptable. Like, I am too rich and too powerful and too everything to have crappy jails. My jails had better be spotless and clean and nice, and rodent and vermin free. So, anyway, that's why the America's jails are the way they are, and that's why Vinny, or what's called Saw, or this one mafia guy who had killed lots of people for the mafia, and then had basically just told everything about what he had done and everything else, and we gave him steak and conjugal visits and let him be inside of a nice protected jail cell. And he lived in there, and it might have been when he got out that he actually got killed or something like that. I don't know what happened to him. Anyway, many people, once they got around me or whatever, they basically realized that they were lied to or they were wrong. It didn't have to be that way. Nobody had to die. They were just being a sucker for somebody else. Some of these other people who were trying to take over, or trying to be more powerful than Lucifer Starline, were having to have to do some very horrible things, to maintain or whatever. I said Nixon was having to have to chop off arms, because the Chinese were going to stop them. An 800 galaxy, and besides, like I say, it's pointless. I'm 99 trillion years old. Like, they've gone back in time. All my life forms had time travel. And stuff like that. Like, there's no stopping it. There's no changing it. I mean, I'm really not something you should fear. The only people that feared me had a lot to hide. Like Pearl Harbor and pirating submarines in the Congress. Like, they had raped and killed and tortured and even submerged a sub and let people drown. And then they were trying to say that the Germans were the ones that were killing people and submerging submarines and leaving people to die in the ocean. It's like, no, they weren't. My Germans were perfectly honest and perfect. They would never do that. And the German army was just like the British army. They would rescue ships even if they torpedoed them. Like just because, it's a statement to the country and a statement to the leader or whatever else like that. And we do not hold the soldier accountable, because the soldier can be lied to, the soldier can be fooled, or the soldier can just be in the way. And that's different. Anyway, I don't really know, but I try not to hurt people. We try not to hurt people. But anyway, I don't know. And realistically, it was somebody like JFK or Nixon or whatever that were, and they were trying to say that they pardoned each other. But they weren't pardoned for anything. It's just they just went on TV and said, blah, 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 blah. And assumed people would just accept it. So, anyway, whatever. I don't really care. Like I said, you have to understand your own crazy-ass existence. My awesome and epic and amazing existence is in record with pictures and films and photographs and Belfast and a lot of Irishmen and a lot of Chinese and a lot of other people and even some Americans and some Mexicans of the past. And it was freedom, peace, and equality with fair rules and fair laws and fair taxation. And you are just one of my 12 or more epic civilizations on planets. Like, you are just a life form type of my 12 main ones or more. There are more than just the 12. So, and many of them ascended to whatever level trillions or billions of years ago. And wandered off, who knows where. Like I say, I don't know. I don't care. I'm just on vacation, dude. And darling. So, yeah. Many people are trying to say that they could stop Brian from becoming blah, 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 blah. It's like, yeah. About the stopping, I was Lucifer Starline for many years and was never in human form, not once. And then I finally became Little Lucifer, Brian basically. Then I bought and owned America and made myself Brian, American citizen, and then blah, 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 blah. And something like that. And like I say, I don't care. I'm just trying to show you what Lucifer Starline looks like. So, yeah. And I'm also your creator. So, So, yeah. And I changed the way you look, and I adapted you and stuff like that. And the truth also is that many other people did too. The Chinese did some stuff. Lots of other groups did some stuff. Not just me. But I was one of the main people and created you for the first time. Other people would also recreate humanity or recreate the human form too, but they were just copying me or just basically doing it, like I had done many trillions of years ago. So, and like I say, you are inside-out exoskeletons, and you are made to use a large amount of water, and also made to be cuddly, feely, snuggly, and friendly, and basically like touchy-feely, like more than before. And it takes a lot of work to actually design a body that's actually where you can touch anywhere and feel it. Anyway, yeah. And then some really sick psycho people thought they could. Well, the truth is, like I said, Jimmy Carter, Richard Nixon, JFK couldn't get anywhere. They kept trying, kept failing. And it wasn't until they got absolutely psychotic that they actually started making any headway at all. And like I said, realistically, JFK was so fucking envious of me. Like I said, he was mad. He was pissed off because women wouldn't even talk to him. And like I said, after they found out what happened, how he was treating the reporters, like I said, he would call, from the White House, he would call up a reporter or someone, or expect someone to come over and make him dinner and have sex with him. And like I said, if those girls didn't have sex with him, they would never work again, and they would maybe even face jail charges as well as other things. He ruled with absolution and complete whatever. People thought he was the best, most awesome, most amazing person ever. He was just trying to pretend like he was me, or trying to pretend like he was someone great, and it was all just lies. And he kept on getting mad because I kept on making things. I would say, okay, guys, I think we'll make this. My people would come to me and be like, what would you like to have made? What metals? And they would show me metals and stuff like that I wanted to be made or produced, because I was basically number one in production and stuff like that. So I'd be choosing metals and stuff like that, and then these metals or these things would be made, and JFK or someone else would be like, where did these come from? Why are these being made? Because he hadn't chosen them. He hadn't picked them. He had nothing to do with them. And yet they're still being produced. So who was ordering these things to be made? Who was having these things produced? Who is more powerful than them, than him? Well, me. And I'm sorry, JFK compared to Lucifer Starline, the epic creator, the one of the LSF colony ship, and the actual owner of the Blackbirds, I was having them stored in France and Germany. And then I wanted them moved over to America. Basically, Lockheed or whatever, or some piece of shit American Congress, whatever, they wanted those Blackbirds. They wanted to be able to say that they had actually invented them, made them. But like I say, they killed those people who saw them for the first time. They went over to some hangars and in France and Germany, and they opened up the hangars, and there they were sitting in there, and the people saw the cracked tires. The reason why those people died is because they saw the cracked tires on the Blackbirds. And any scientist who did the research on those tires would know that those tires would last 200 to 500 years or something like that. They last a really long time. So those jets had obviously been there longer than anyone had been alive. So they had to be the LSF Blackbirds. And nothing but. They hadn't flown in hundreds of years. And like I said, one of the reasons why one of them crashed is they put little pedcocks that were made of brass inside there, and didn't realize that the hulls get up to about 1,000 degrees. So they were flying and they were going for the record, and the pedcocks melted. And so the fuel tank just started spraying inside of the thing and basically became a Roman candle. Anyway, they and later on in the investigation, they asked, they said, "Where did you get those?" And he said, and they just had driven down to the local parts store and gotten some pedcocks. Somebody else might have known what they were trying to do, or what they were trying to lie about, and been pissed off too, and actually gotten the fuel pedcocks from the things. And none of them were aircraft flight engineers. They were just people, and they didn't really realize that the hulls of the ships heat up that much, and that's why they're made out of depleted uranium or some metal combination. They didn't even know what they were made of at first for a long time. The scientists were dead, or they had killed the scientists or something like that. And I said, oh well, what can I do? Like I said, Rick Bush and Rodney Briley or some other people were like, well, when he's a child, we'll be doing all this stuff behind his back, and we'll take over. And it's like, well, you're gonna find a hard time doing that, because like the Germans, the Irish, and lots of other life forms knew about me. So it's like, well, So I mean, even 30 clones living or locking down everything for 180 years. That's what the JFK period is actually a 180-year time in history, or something like that. They locked everything down and got everything for about 180 years, basically, or something like that. And then they lost. And they did this by having multiple JFK clones over and over and over again. Basically, JFK was in the White House for like ever or something like that. Realistically, it's from 1917 until 1968 or something like that, when finally someone put a bullet in his head. Lee Harvey Oswald, like I said, Jackie Kennedy wanted to go to the police and wanted to tell everyone about the truth about what JFK was doing, what they were doing. And they had beaten the crap out of her. They had killed Lee Harvey Oswald's child, and they had labeled him a spy and been trying to kill him as well, because he was going to go public. So anyway, so the Japanese and the Russians were going to kill JFK, but Lee Harvey Oswald said no, if they kill him, then there's going to be a war, because JFK or Nixon actually wanted to blame the Russians for the shot, because they wanted to attack Russia, saying that Russia had assassinated the great president, blah, 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 blah. or China had assassinated the great president, blah, blah, blah. Realistically, both China and Russia had every reason to kill JFK. So Lee Harvey Oswald decided to basically step up to the plate and take one for existence. And he knew about how horrible they were and what they had done too. And like Lee Harvey Oswald would say, he would say, look, I'm not a hero either. I'm not a good person. You know, apparently he had done some horrible things too or something like that, but he was going to make amends or something. I don't know. You'd have to ask him, talk to him. And basically probably Nixon actually killed Lee Harvey Oswald or had him killed. When Nixon, of course, was JFK. So, anyway, they had threatened the women to death do us part, and if anything happened, and even afterwards, one of the other JFK boys was trying to marry Jackie Kennedy. You know, saying that, and that's why one of the other JFK boys actually got killed, is because he was trying to marry Jackie Kennedy. And like I say, they would pass around Marilyn Monroe like she was a toy, and even taunt her and laugh at her. They were very horrible men. So, anyway, they were the worst of the worst, apparently, or something like that.